It's Christmas time again. Your favorite shoe cookies. It's the season of love where miracles happen.
Welcome to the second part of A Delightful Encounter. So where were we? Okay. The party of Beyond approached him slowly. They were probably as many as 100. The head of the group came forth. "Greetings, Earthling. By which name may I address you?" He was surely trying his best to be polite, Dio thought. "Of course I am," the head of the Sunlings responded. "As we have not priorly been introduced, I shall use my capabilities as of good quality." Dio was both surprised and slightly embarrassed that the being had read his mind. He was also amused by the strange way of talking, and a smile covered his face. "You need not worry," the Sunling continued. "I will adapt my language as we speak. This is our firsteth time on Earth as people, so please excuse us for needing a few momentums to calibrate." "You're already doing better," Dio thought. "Thank you. I appreciate that. We are inhabitants of the sun, and as I just said, this is our firstest trip to the planet Earth in this shape and form." "No, that cannot be." Dio was puzzled and continued, "You cannot be inhabiting the sun. It's way too hot for anything to survive any form at all." "Yes, true," the being responded. "Of course we don't have a form on the sun. That would be so inappropriate. We would have no liberty to work freely if we were bound by form. Here's the thing. As we travel through the solar system, we adapt to our surroundings, taking the form that is suitable for the current situation. This means that an encounter on Earth requires for us to look and be human. Otherwise, we have no success in neither contact nor interaction. Believe me, we have tried and failed many times." A wave of giggling went through the crowd. They had a collective memory of these attempts to address beings of form throughout time from a non-form existence, and it never went well. They could be just next to a human being, making gestures to get a message through, but most of the times the human being would either get scared and run from something that it couldn't see, or simply go close the door or window and consider it a draft. Many good intentions, visions, and amazing ideas were lost because of the Earthling's inability to read the surrounding field. What a waste. "You see," the Sunling continued, "the transformation begins out there." He pointed towards the sky. "But as you know, the laws of physics require for us to take adequate action. For example, there's no point in assuming a physical form before we are in the atmosphere of Earth. We would simply burn up the borders of the stratosphere. Well, if we hadn't already lost our direction in the non-gravity space field, or ruined the human form by not being able to breathe out there either. So, the clever thing to do in situations like this is to adapt gradually. On the sun, we are merely beings of energy floating in and out of the sun and the surroundings, attending to the maintenance of the solar system and visioning the next moves to come from the path of this galaxy. Most of the time we attend our own business, sending you warmth and light in appropriate amounts, an occasional sunstorm to boost your doings, and occasionally we visit. The visits have gone by mostly unnoticed up until now, with lesser effect than intended due to that very reason. It seems that you Earthlings need to see things with your own eyes and get it right in your face to discover that things are changing. The head of the Sunlings paused as he saw the look on his new friend's face. The latter had frowned and looked slightly offended. "Oh, no offense, mister. It's a simple observation on our part." Dio relaxed. After all, the Sunling was right. Humans did tend to be thick-headed and stubborn. "No, no, no, no." The head Sunling had read his mind again. "Nothing like that. It's only natural in a denser context that things move at a different speed. Our galaxy moves at immense speed, but locally, physical matter moves slower, especially in the company of gravity. We totally get that as we shift from form to non-form. A stone is simply more compact than a cloud, and we cannot judge one over the other in comparison. They are different creations and they serve different purposes. It is as simple as that. But as I was saying, as we get closer to your stratosphere, we adapt to your world's requirements. At first, you couldn't see us on the Golden Bridge, right? And you assumed that it was because your vision is too limited, right? Dio nodded. That was not the case. We only took form as we came closer to being able to be and breathe as human appearances in your atmosphere. It wasn't until pretty far down the bridge, actually, that we began walking. Until then, we were aerial bodies slowly floating with no feet. And it wasn't until we set foot on the sand that we actually became fully equipped human bodies. Just as the bridge itself isn't a solid bridge of gold, because that would make it far too messy to remove it after our visit. Dio sighed. There was some truth and logic in the Sunling's words, sure, but the whole of the situation was weird with a capital W. Yes, well, the Sunling continued. We thought about it a lot and came to the conclusion that making a more spectacular entrance this time could probably cause enough of a scene to actually make an impact on you guys. If we showed up in a similar form as yourself, you would maybe get the message. But let us move on to the reason why we are here, shall we? Dio hadn't really reached that thought yet, being so baffled about the occurring events. There's a reason? Well, the head of the Sunling party continued. Of course there's a reason. Do you really think that anything happens at random? Do you really think that we would make such an effort just for the fun of it? Behind the leader, the crowd of Sunlings began laughing. Of course they were in it for the fun. What was the point of being in form if you weren't able to use that particular form's exquisite qualities? And apparently, one of the most exquisite features of the human experience was the ability to apply the wonderful feeling of laughter roaring through the body, while igniting every cell and causing a state of sheer joy and well-being at any given time in any given situation. The crowd laughed because they could. They got the amazing sensation because they were in human form. The act didn't have the same effect when in non-form with no gravity around. The head Sunling blushed slightly. Yes, well, sure, we are here to finally get the amazing human experience of sentiments of joy. But we are also here to invite you to discover a new perception of yourself. Well, I'm just realizing that this is a very long story, so I'll have to split it into 3, and you'll get part 3 in the morning. So, bye for now.